What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, and make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out. Now, with this video, we are going to be jumping into Superman and the Authority. This is going to be a limited series run, running a total of 4 issues. And it's going to be taking place sometime in the future. And not only that, it's going to have ramifications that go throughout all of DC Comics. And that's including Action Comics and the current Superman run. Now, this is written by the amazingly talented Grant Morrison. And the pencils, the inks, and the cover art are all done by Mikel Janin. And with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into issue number 1, we are picking up in Washington, D.C. in November of 1963. And Superman is currently having a conversation with JFK. And Kennedy has brought him here to ask him something very specific to do. While Kennedy is headed off the next day for Dallas, which many of us know is the day, the place that he was assassinated at. And JFK is telling Superman that the world needs him now more than ever, especially with all the changes that JFK has in store, not only for America, but for the world. Because as it stands, the world has seen so much war, and they had the Justice Society. They tried to make a difference where the law couldn't. The Mystery Men, they played their part in ending World War II. But Superman has an even bigger task ahead of him. JFK wants him to be the one to end all wars, to end all of the violence and bring humanity to the stars. And with everything JFK has planned, he wants to take all of humanity to Mars. He wanted to do this by 1960. And of course, he's going to ask Superman for help, but only in small ways in case they need him if there's an emergency or something of that nature. He wants human ingenuity to be what drives this, to give humanity the hope in themselves. And so on this day, in 1963, Superman had made a promise. He made a promise to JFK to help make a finer world, to make a better world. Little did Superman know that all of his dreams, all of JFK's aspirations, they would never reach their true fruition, because the next day he goes to Dallas, Texas, and that is where he is assassinated. But that is what will bring us to Manchester Black. Manchester Black waking up from what appears to be some kind of binger, only to be completely surrounded by the police. And we see Black panic. He gets up in quite a hurry, goes over, grabs his alcohol, takes a swig, but before he knows it, they are throwing smoke bombs. They're getting ready to breach this building. And while they're on the outside, they're observing, waiting to see any kind of sign of him. But this is when their leader, the commander of all of these officers, it appears that his psych block just isn't working, or he doesn't have it on. Because this is where he starts tripping. Take an acid trip times 10 million, and that's exactly what you're getting. And this is all because of Manchester Black. He creates illusions like this. And with all of the police officers currently tripping out on these illusions because their psych blockers just might not be working, it appears that Black is just too powerful and his power cannot be dampened. But as he is strolling outside, he sees a helicopter up in the sky. The sniper, it targets him, and they lay down a barrage of bullets, and Manchester Black, he gets riddled with them. And with Manchester Black now taken down, this is where we see Superman come in, pick him up, and take off with him. And Superman takes him to the Fortress of Solitude. Now, taking him to the fortress, this is where they have a conversation, because Superman has brought him here for a very particular reason, telling him about that day in 1963, telling him about the day he made that promise to Jack Kennedy. But somewhere along the way, Superman forgot what that promise meant. But after that day, the day that Kennedy was assassinated, everything started to fall like dominoes. And while Superman is telling him all of this, we know Manchester Black, being the anti-hero he is, he doesn't like authority. He especially doesn't like authority like Superman. And these guys have butted heads for so many years up to this point. And we can tell this is the future by 2 different things. One, because Superman has a graying hairline. And 2, Superman lets us know that his powers, they are weakening. And this is something that has been talked about in Action Comics and everything else going on currently in Infinite Frontier. And up to this point, we really don't know why Superman is losing his power. But as it is, Superman has slowly been losing it, and up to this point, he's gotten to a point he can barely fly anymore. And so we're seeing more and more as this dialogue continues that Superman hasn't brought him here for anything more than to ask him to do something. Because he continuously mentions how the Justice League, they ran out of time. They weren't able to do everything that they needed to do. They made more of it about them than saving the world. And of course, Black, being his arrogant self, is just doing everything he can to jab at Superman while he's sitting in this wheelchair. But Superman ignores all of his insults and tells him that he is running out of time and he needs his help to set things truly right. And Black's response to this is, why would I help you? You know, I'm sitting currently in a wheelchair, and I feel like this has just got to be revenge for all of the hell that I have put you through all of these years. That you crippled me, you finished me as a man and as a human being. And so what am I supposed to do now? Why would I sit here and be your disabled professor lining up a new era of superheroes? Why would I do anything to go out of my way and help you? And then Superman sets the record straight, letting him know that Superman in fact saved his life. Saved his life by operating on him because after he was shot, he was almost a paraplegic. And right now, the nanobots are working inside his body to correct his spine. And so he should only be in this wheelchair only for a little bit longer. Now, Black is still highly skeptical of this entire situation. Not sure to believe Superman actually saved him or if this is just some kind of power play that Superman is playing on him. Because at the end of the day, Black has tried to kill Superman numerous times. He's tried to kill his loved ones. I mean, he led his own super team, and he is referred to as a meta-human terrorist. So why the heck would Superman want any kind of help from him? And while they're having this conversation, Superman takes him into a room where he can see everything. Because those Superman's abilities, they may be fading. Kryptonian science is not. And of course, Manchester Black, he wants to jump on that, you know, what about everybody's privacy? You're seeing everything. This is, you know, against people's rights, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, Superman even lays it out for him. You know, people have social media now. People lay out all of their personal information for the entire world to see. There is very little that is actually private in this day and age. But that is not why he is here. He has brought him here for this little red flashing ball, because that is the alarm connected to the Phantom Zone, where all the criminals of Superman's homeworld are sent. And when Kryptonian scientists, they first discovered the zone, they'd explored it with robotic probes. But these machines had eventually gone rogue, and Superman informs him that in exactly 12 minutes, they will have figured out how to crack the code, and they are gonna open up a portal that brings them here to Earth. And once they arrive here, I may not be strong enough to stop them. That is how long I have to convince you to lend me a hand. But of course, Manchester Black, he's going to object to this. You know, why would he help him take down these quote-unquote criminals that he knows nothing about that are sitting in a ghost jail for God knows how long? Who knows what crimes they actually committed? And Superman tries to tell him that they committed serious crimes. They're super sociopaths. And that sends Black into a giant fury because that's what he's been called at times. And so to him, he finds it extremely highly offensive. But in his anger, he is able to start walking again. And as he screams and shouts at Superman, he doesn't realize that he is standing looking at him. But Superman points it out really quickly and it stops him in his tracks. And Superman tells him that his powers are no longer what they used to be. He can't stop the Zone droids when they make their arrival. He won't be able to stop any of the untold havoc that they are going to unleash on all of Earth. And right now, the only person that is going to be able to make a difference is Manchester Black. Because Superman is looking for gifted individuals. People that were forced to live beyond the law, beyond the consensus, people who truly have something to offer, and individuals that could truly make a difference in this world. Someone who could duplicate the power that Superman is losing. People who could stand in his place when he is gone. And as it stands, Manchester Black, he has nowhere to go. He has absolutely nothing to live for. But Superman tells him that he could stay here. He could stop running, and together they could do some kind of good in this world. And of course, Black's response is go to hell. And as Black goes to leave, as he walks out the door and goes into the freezing cold, Superman tells him that he doesn't need to go to hell because hell is coming to him. And as Black is making his way through the cold, the alarms go off. We have a Phantom Zone breach, and Superman stands here ready to fight whatever comes through that door. And this is where we see the fight begin. The Zone droids making their attack on Superman. Superman doing his best to try to hold these things off, but they appear to be getting the upper hand on him. And while this fight is going on, Manchester Black is fighting with his mind. He is fighting so hard because he wants to leave. He wants to just walk away from his enemy. He wants to walk away from the one guy that he has hated his entire freaking life. But he can't. He cannot resist the urge to turn around and go help him. And as Black returns into this area for the battle, he sends a thought beast hurling in their direction. Now the Zone droids, they know immediately that this is fake, that it's completely illusion, and they continue trying to kill Superman. And so with his illusion not working on these droids, this is where we see him use his telekinesis. And just like that, this fight is over. With the telekinesis boost and Superman's strength, these two clean up these droids without a problem. And with these droids broken, Superman contemplates reprogramming them and reusing them to map out the Phantom Zone. But Black lets us know that he's been thinking about what Superman said, about him and the Justice League. If they had done something about it when they actually had the chance, the world wouldn't ever have turned out exactly how it is. Because back in his day, back in his peak, he could have stopped anything. But they made mistakes. They thought they were winning in these fights, and they weren't. And it shows us a clip of JFK being assassinated. And so we can only think, if Superman had been there that day, if he had been in Dallas, if he had stopped that sniper, what could have been? What could the world possibly be now if JFK had actually completed his entire presidency? Now this is when we're taken to Earth's orbit, and we see Ultra-Humanite. He has been waiting in the shadows for such a long time, years and decades, waiting for the day that Superman is weak, and finally that day is upon them. While Superman was growing weaker, he was growing stronger. And he goes on to tell us that Superman lied about a lot of things. But one of the biggest things he lied about was kryptonite. Ultra-Humanite saying that he knows the truth behind kryptonite. And he vows that he is going to end his oldest enemy. And picking back up in the Fortress of Solitude, we see what appears to be a round table. Not just any round table, but the actual round table from Arthur and his knights. Superman saving it during the second fall of Camelot. Arthur allowed him to hold onto it for the very purpose of uniting a team against some kind of great evil, to resurrect the spirit of the collective action in his own time. And this is the real reason that he's brought Black here, so Black can succeed where Superman has been failing. Now Black doesn't really care about all of that. He's more worried about his police record and having that just pretty much cleared and expunged. And Superman tells him flat out, you know what I mean, I really don't like you. For years, I have disliked you with an extreme passion. But recently, I have been thinking, I think of all the people, you, Manchester Black, can help me save the world. And for real this time. And as these two sit here and they talk about recruiting new individuals to this team, Manchester Black tells them, you know, if I were you, I would have my vengeance on this world. For all of the people that rejected you, for all the people that looked down on you for simply telling your truth. But this isn't Superman's style. He likes to do things a little bit differently. And with this, we have a toast. They both toast to a brighter tomorrow, to a finer world. And as they drink their drinks, Manchester Black realizes that this is not alcohol, this is mineral water. And Manchester Black needs alcohol because of his pre-existing medical condition. And we can only assume that Superman knew about this. We can only assume that this was a ploy, a trick by Superman, because we see Manchester Black slumped over one of these planets, and he does not appear to be in any kind of good shape. Alright gang, so as we dive into issue number 2, we're seeing Superman doing his workout regimen. And let there be no mistake, Superman is still immensely powerful, but at this point in his life, his powers have slowly started to weaken. Getting into his older age, there seems to be something that has been dampening his power, and this is something that's been going on in Action Comics and the Superman line. Batman has been investigating exactly why he has been deteriorating, but we've also seen Jonathan really growing in powers, and it's even been speculated that he is going to surpass Clark Kent when it comes to abilities and strength. And after we see some banter between Superman and Black, they say it is time to start the recruitment process, to bring the names to the table that you have in mind, and let's start tracking them down and inviting them upon our team. And that's what drops us into the Steelworks, Metropolis HQ of the family Steel. And we see John Henry Irons having a huge issue going on right now, and Natasha Irons making her way in to try to help her uncle. Steel trying to tell her that she needs to stay back because he was exploring the data cosmos. And in doing this, they were attacked by hostile digital life forms. And what they're seeing is Wi-Fi having a consciousness, unfolded from the network, and using Steel as a bridge. And so while Steel is working effortlessly on his end to be able to shut all of this down, he needs Natasha to be able to hold the front lines. And with her picking up the hammer, she starts laying waste to some robots. All of these robots spouting all kinds of just ridiculous things that are not facts. Tons of false information being spread around, and while she is busy trying to take down all of these things, this is when a troll appears. And what this is doing is manifesting a real life aspect of what the internet is like. You have tons of people that are constantly just being rude and negative and just mean individuals. And what we're seeing is this AI consciousness manifest that, because the internet, it learned everything it knows from humankind. And this negativity is one of the main driving forces of social media and everything else. Because negativity, it gets the clicks. It gets the people to comment. It gets the people really active in it. And so the AI computer, it learned all of this, and it's manifested real life matter to represent those things. And one of the things we do see is what is referred to as edgelords. And these guys are just representing the worst of the worst. Saying girls can't be superheroes, you can't be a superhero because of the color of your skin, whatever the case may be. Just, the worst things imaginable you could say to another human being. These are the living embodiments of that. And this is when she's finally piecing it together, realizing that the AI is taking the worst aspects of us and making it a literal. And so she tries to have a bargain with the machine, tries to bargain with the AI, saying that you've learned a lot of bad habits. You've took the worst of the internet and you've put it into real life application. And so Natasha offers to help the AI consciousness, help it learn a different way, but only if the rampage stops, if all of the violence ends. And that's where we pick back up at Fort Superman, with Superman and Black kind of going over Steel's file, finding out all they can about Natasha, realizing that Metropolis has been left in really good hands, but it looks like Natasha may be hired on to try to be part of this team, with John Henry Irons currently holding the position of Guardian of Metropolis. Natasha is a prime candidate to be able to help out on this team. Now, Superman tells Black that he really needs to start earning his keep more or less. Because this find, Natasha, is more of a Superman find, and Black didn't really have anything to do with it. But Black says that he has two individuals he has in mind. Two individuals, one of them very excited to work with Superman. And so the two of them, they go over to their Supermobile, with Superman, trying not to use his powers if he doesn't have to, and flying becoming even more harder day after day. The Supermobile has come in a huge help for him. But that's when our story takes us to Yemen, and we've been brought to Yemen for two individuals. Those individuals being Apollo and Midnighter. Currently overlooking a base doing some kind of operation, Apollo is not happy right now. He is super insecure. He's worried that Midnighter has been cheating on him. They're just having relationship issues right now. And Midnighter, he tries to tell him that he's just being paranoid, that he's overthinking the situation, and they really should be focusing on the main objective right now. Because right now they've been looking for missing telekinetic children, some orphans that have gone missing, and he's pretty sure that he has found them. But even with all of this going on, Apollo still can't help but feel offended right now, because today is their anniversary, and he feels like Midnighter forgot about this. Of course, Midnighter ignoring all of this and saying that the intel was right on the money, because those kids, they were traded for components. They built a freaking Frankenstein monster using spare children parts and giant pro wrestlers, at least by the looks of it. And so without wasting any time, Midnighter, he jumps into action, telling them that he's already anticipated every move that it could ever make, in every possible combination. He's run every conceivable combat scenario, and in every one of these scenarios, this hideous Frankenstein monster beast that was once these poor children, it's going to die. And Midnighter jumps into action, slicing and dicing every single soldier in his way. As their guns fall to the ground, Midnighter thinks he has the upper hand, but he doesn't see the giant beast coming from behind him. And this Frankenstein grabs a hold of him, not realizing that this monster has brains chained together, and so it's thinking faster than Midnighter is. With this hideous monster crushing Midnighter, he calls out to Apollo to sever the chains, to help him in any way he can. And without missing a beat, we see Apollo come glowing in, letting him know that he is there. And Apollo, he hates this, because yet again they are turned into murderers, and that is not something they wanted. Their hand, they feel like, was forced in this situation, that they had no other option but to do this. Now, with this beast defeated, Apollo, he jumps back into his conversation because he's still upset about everything else. But he tells Apollo that he ran every variant of how this would play out. So he knew that he would ruin this moment with self-pity, and he would counter this by letting him know that he did not forget their anniversary, because he was trying to say earlier that he loves him and that he got him something very special, that they are going to be on a team with Superman, someone Apollo has looked up to his entire life. And this is where we see Superman and Apollo meet. Shaking hands, he is absolutely starstruck, telling Superman that he wanted to be just like him, but he really hopes that he forged his own voice, his own name in this world. But at the end of the day, it all started with Superman. But now that the handshakes are all out of the way, it's time to talk about their new recruit, the next individual that they have to go track down. And this one is not going to be nearly as easy, because the next one is Enchantress. Now, this part of the story drops us into kind of like a horror thriller comic. And we're picking up with June, aka Enchantress. And she is with what appears to be her boyfriend Alan, making their way to Hilltop Hotel. It looks like they're trying to do like a B&B for the night. Him trying to surprise her, trying to give her some kind of gift, but this place gives her the freaks, gives her the creeps, and she really doesn't like it here. But as they make their way inside, the butler leads them into a room that is mostly empty except for some kind of object in the middle of the room covered with some kind of red blanket. And as they get closer and closer, things become more and more sinister. She gets much more uncomfortable, and as they move the blanket away, we realize that Alan has ulterior motives, because as June looks in the mirror, she sees Enchantress. Alan grabbing hold of her, Enchantress saying that they have very little time, and we learn that Alan this whole time has been having an affair with June's alter ego, has been having an affair with Enchantress, and this was all a plan to try to free her, to try to free Enchantress. And as she is thrown into the mirror, she finds herself on the opposite side in a reverse world, and Dizamore standing in front of her. Because this was the deal, trading June for Enchantress. And June looking through the mirror, seeing Enchantress, seeing Alan, laughing as they walk away, and with June panicking, screaming that they are coming for her. Then we see her strapped to a bed, appearing to get some electroshock therapy. Both Enchantress and Alan standing before her. Alan trying to tell her that it's all fake. Them trying to tell her that she is unwell, but it really appears to be nothing more than a manipulation of her mind. And as Superman and everybody else show up, they realize immediately that there's some space-time damage going on here. Gravitational and thermal anomalies are consistent with heavy matter intrusion. This is all one giant illusion, a hell illusion that they are going to have to rescue the Enchantress from. It's a hell prison that she has created herself, and her thinking that it is completely hopeless. We see June sitting in a wheelchair, appearing to give up all hope as Dizamore really just tells her that there is no God and all hope is gone, and that she is nothing without him. But as he gives this little monologue, we see someone come flying in the room and send him flying with one single punch. And we see the light break. We see the color start to come back, and Superman is standing in front of her, letting her know that she is in hell. But none of this matters because they are here to rescue her. Alright gang, so as we dive into issue number 3, we are picking up in Alaska. And we are picking up with June, aka Enchantress. She is currently finding herself showering, getting dressed, but not really sure exactly where she is right now. But as she finishes getting ready, this is when she sees Kal-X. So we know that she has made it back to Fort Superman. Of course, she is completely unaware of this up to this point, trying to figure out where she is, looking around the fortress, completely unaware of where she might be. That is until Kal-X tells her that she is here at the generosity of the host, which is Superman. And walking into the room, seeing the entirety of the team, seeing the round table, she realizes that she was in hell. Her memory comes flooding back, remembering seeing all of them there, realizing that this was not a dream, but this was reality. And this is where we pick up inside the Enchantress's head. And inside of her head, she is trapped. Dizamore is keeping her inside, keeping her sedated, keeping her compliant and to his will. And with our team making their way into this place, into this hellscape that she has created, that's exactly what Superman tells her. Though Dizamore has an end goal of obliterating all good from the world, and some twisted idea that will also create a world of good after it's all gone. Or at least he'll feel good after all good in the universe has been wiped away. But he is using Enchantress. He is preying on her weakness, keeping her down, keeping her compliant. But Superman lets her know that this all is a creation in her own mind. She is the one creating this hellscape. She has complete control over everything going on. She simply needs to remember. She needs to remember who she is. She needs to remember how powerful she truly is. And to break out of this prison, to break out of this hell and release all of them. And that's exactly what we see happen. We see the Enchantress stand up, remembering who she is, remembering what she is. She breaks this prison down. And as this hellscape breaks into a million different fractions, we see Superman carrying her out. And with all of these memories back, Enchantress, she woke up feeling a bit different, feeling as if something actually is not missing inside of her. Now, with Enchantress being free, her first thought is like, alright guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for the assist, I'm gonna head out. But Manchester Black, he reminds her that she doesn't come with a relatively clean rap sheet. Enchantress is definitely not a good guy. She's definitely a wanted individual. But what Superman is offering is more or less a get out of jail free card. An opportunity for all of them to work together as a team, kind of like Suicide Squad in the aspect that you'll earn your freedom serving on this team. Now, obviously, seeing this as an opportunity, with Superman saying that he needs her help, these guys have such inflated egos, such narcissism, that they can't help themselves. When someone like Superman comes up and says they want help, these guys cannot help themselves but actually do it. But the team is working together to find one last teammate. That teammate being Leah Nelson, aka Light Ray. Now Superman, he's still keeping everything very close to the chest. He's not divulging the overall plan on why this team is even forming to begin with. He's gave them the base idea that he wants to create a more or less Justice League of the future. But he wants this team to be better. Where the Justice League fails, he's hoping that these individuals can come together and essentially replace him in the near future. Because as it stands, Superman's powers, they're fading. They have been fading for quite some time now. And Superman, looking gray, looking old, he's gotten to a point where he's using the Supermobile for most of his getting around. He hardly even flies anymore. Though he definitely has his strength. He definitely still can kick some butt. He is not nearly the Superman that we know and love. And he also lets them know, before they get into any kind of full-fledged battles or anything like that, he needs them to know that while they shouldn't be killing, he really wants them to try to the best of their ability to just enable people, to immobilize them, to knock them out, something of that nature. They don't have to do it nicely, but he's asking that everybody do the best to their ability to not kill anybody. But Enchantress, she was brought on specifically because she is going to be able to get through Light Ray's home defenses. And so Enchantress and Apollo, these two are going to go in and try to get Light Ray to join this team. Apollo going just in case Enchantress is going to need some muscle. Superman is planning to be the bait. Because while they're planning to do this, Superman is definitely expecting some kind of attack. He's expecting some kind of trouble from somewhere. Not knowing where this is going to be, he has the rest of the team on standby. And that's what's going to take us to Earth's orbit. And we're picking up with Ultra-Humanite. Now realizing that Superman is at his weakest point, Ultra-Humanite has been waiting for this day for so long. And so Ultra-Humanite is finally making his attack, having his army of more or less synthetic cyborg type people. He is about to wage war on Earth, and he is going to start the fight at Superman. And that is what's going to take us to Mars, August 2001. And we are seeing the birth of a child. Not just any child, but the first child ever to be born on Mars. But little did any of them know that this newborn child would eventually grow up to be Light Ray, with all the powers of the rainbow, the first girl to be born on Mars, 4-time winner of Celebrity Crisis, Light Ray, who illuminates the darkness, who elevates the spirit and brings the dazzling young dawn. And though she may look cheerful, she may look happy and spunky all the time when she's out and about, when she's doing the Light Ray thing. But the reality is, when she is alone, when she is at home, sitting in the darkness, this is when she is her saddest. This is when she is her most depressed. And as she sits here in this darkness, this is when the darkness comes to find her. Feeling her sadness, using the darkness to his advantage, Eclipso makes his way into her home. And with Light Ray disappearing into the darkness, this is where Apollo shows up. Apollo shining as bright as the sun, lighting up all of this darkness. Arriving at the home of Light Ray, there is no sign of her. And so with Apollo not knowing what to do next, he goes to radio in and figure out what their next course of action is to do. With Light Ray not being anywhere to be found, this is where Apollo gets sideswiped by Leah's bodyguard. But that's when we're gonna pick up in Dubai, because this is where Ultra-Humanite is launching his invasion. And so we have Steel, Manchester Black, and Midnighter, our team on standby, and they are here ready to fight, ready to take on anything Ultra-Humanite is going to shoot their way. But as these three are on the ground, as this invasion is taking place, Manchester Black, of course, is arguing who is the leader while they're out in the field. While, of course, Midnighter saying, you know, this is Superman's team. He's the one that created this. He's the one that gave us the orders. But Manchester Black, he is saying that while they are out in the field, he is the one in command. But Midnighter tells him, you know, for the record, if anyone were to seem qualified to do this, it would definitely be Steel as the leader and not you, just for the record. But of course, none of this is relevant right now, because as it is freaking raining robots from the sky. But after they're done bantering, after they're done arguing about all of this, they get ready to kick it into high gear, with Steel recognizing some kind of meta powers nearby. Manchester Black proclaims that they are the authority, only to get immediately electrocuted, and another team coming down claiming that they are actually the authority. And so while Manchester Black and the rest of the team handle all of that, that's what's taking us to Fort Superman. And as he walks by all of the statues of the individuals that he has faced during the years, we're seeing a little bit of everybody. We're seeing Lex, we're seeing Brainiac, we're seeing Bizarro, there's Darkseid, Doomsday, a little bit of everybody that Superman has ever defeated in combat. But as he is walking by them, he recognizes something is out of place. Because of all the statues, he never remembers seeing a Solomon Grundy statue. He never remembers having this. And when he stops, when he looks back, Solomon Grundy attacks. But this isn't some mindless creature. This isn't the Solomon Grundy that we know and love. This Solomon Grundy has been taken over by Ultra-Humanite, swapping out their brains, giving him the strength and the ability to be able to take down Superman, especially in his weakened state. This is the best opportunity Ultra-Humanite will ever get at taking down the Man of Steel. And though Solomon Grundy definitely has the upper hand, he is inside Fort Superman, which means the Supermobile is very close by. Calling it over, it knocks the crap out of the Solomon Grundy, and Superman, he hops in, jumping into the cockpit and charging full speed at Solomon Grundy. Grundy pounds down his fists, and he smashes the crap out of it. And this is where Ultra-Humanite lets him know that for years, for decades, he had wanted to kill Superman, to take him down, to swap out their brains, so that he could have the power of Superman, so that he could be Superman. But now, seeing Superman in this weakened, ridiculous state, he has no interest anymore. He's not even worthy of fighting anymore. But he lets him know that he is going to take him. He's going to take him, and he is going to use him. Because at the end of the day, Ultra-Humanite still wants to take over this planet. And if Superman is not a prime candidate for him to take over, he will use Superman as the bait to lure in Superboy and eventually take him over instead. And so with Superman now knocked out, Ultra-Humanite throws him over his shoulder and lets him know that they are going to Kandor, the only place where they have the surgical equipment to be able to swap out their brains. And together, they are going to remake the world. Alright gang, so as we dive into this last and final issue, we're picking up at Fort Superman, with Superman currently tied up by Ultra-Humanite, using the body of Solomon Grundy. And he has brought Superman to the bottled city of Kandor. And he has done this because they have the technology, the abilities to be able to cut Superman's brain out and replace it with his own. Ultra-Humanite telling Superman that his time has passed, that it is time for the next step in evolution. It is time for the strongest to be able to finally take over. And with Superman taken out of the equation, with Ultra-Humanite taking over Superman, he believes that all of his dreams are going to come true, that he will finally be able to take this planet and take them to their next step. And in doing so, it will render the man of tomorrow completely obsolete. And as Ultra-Humanite gets ready to open up the brain of Superman, he was faking it the entire time, with him not actually being knocked out. He grabs his arm and he punches Ultra-Humanite with one heck of a Superman punch. Because while Superman's abilities, they may be weakened, they may be down, Superman is still packing one heck of a freaking punch. And with Ultra-Humanite getting up and going and delivering a punch back to Superman, he thinks he has the upper hand because he's in the body of Solomon Grundy. So he's not feeling any of the pain, but Superman definitely is. But what Ultra-Humanite did not know is this was all a trap. This was all set up because Superman knew he was going to have some backup. And that backup comes in the form of Lois Lane. And her wielding a giant laser gun, she shoots it directly at Ultra-Humanite. And this beam is made of pure white kryptonite. And we see Ultra-Humanite, he drops down to the ground, completely immobilized. Superman walks over to him, grabs him by the head, and completely decapitates him. Now, it may seem a little barbaric, but Superman, he's not worried. Solomon Grundy will grow back, but Superman needs to pull this brain out. And that's because he wants to put it under a micro scanner. And as he begins to analyze all of the data, he recognizes that this technology, it's far superior to anything Ultra-Humanite could actually get his hands on. And so it makes Superman question, where did this tech come from? Who does it belong to? And who is Ultra-Humanite working with? And he quickly learns exactly who this is, recognizing that there is a marker, a brand mark, inside a kind of product coding inside the brain of Ultra-Humanite. A product code that can belong to only one individual, and putting a teleband on his head. This is where we see him connect to a network, and he is able to talk to the one behind everything. That individual being Brainiac. And Brainiac is letting Superman know, first off, congratulations, you figured it out that it was me, that I am the one behind all of this, and I am doing this because you have failed to preserve Earth. Brainiac's main objective being to preserve and catalog. The only issue is, if humanity is continued left unchecked, then they are going to be the architects of their own destruction. They are going to destroy the very world that they live on, and there will be nothing to preserve afterwards. And so he is telling Superman, because of your failures to stop humanity from destroying their planet, I have come to finally take it over. Because Brainiac's, his main objective is to save Earth. Not by the means that Superman wants them, but to bottle up the whole planet and be able to preserve it and protect it. And Superman has always just been in his way. The inevitable endgame is finally upon us. And while he is talking to Brainiac, we learn that Ultra-Humanite, he has returned, being able to replicate and put as many brains into as many bodies as he wants. With the help of Brainiac, Ultra-Humanite more or less has become immortal. Now, down on the surface, this is where we have Superman's The Authority kicking some freaking butt, with Midnighter and Steel working in Dubai at the G7 summit, and they find themselves going against the army of robots that is belonging to Brainiac. Not only that, they have enlisted some help of some other individuals, one of them being Iron Cross, the indestructible white supremacist. Now, this Nazi-loving racist, he comes across black, and he quickly learns that he is absolutely no match for Black in any way, shape, or form. With Black multiplying himself, surrounding him in a whole big circle, we see Steel get her opportunity, and she comes down with her hammer like freaking Thor. With her hammer coming down on Iron Cross, he is knocked to the ground. Midnighter taking this opportunity to give him some boots right in his teeth. And this completely decapitates Iron Cross. But it appears that it does not kill him because his head is still talking as he flies through the air. And this is where we see Steel get attacked. Coming out of absolutely nowhere, this is where we see Civ, the femto-engineered alien activist. And going after Midnighter is our French super spy, Fleur de Lis. And what this is the ultimate chess match. It is Superman versus Brainiac, neither of them using brute force, but instead creating a team to go against one another. Now, of course, this wasn't Superman's objective. He created this team to go against Warworld. But this is a great opportunity for them to test how capable they truly are. And one of the last individuals that Brainiac has brought on board is Coldcast. With Coldcast coming up behind Black and putting his hands on his head, he is completely freezing Black out. Now Black, he's trying to reach to him. He's trying to get to him and figure out why, first of all, Coldcast is even working with an individual like Iron Cross. Like, you're literally working with a freaking Nazi. A white supremacist Nazi at that. Though I don't know if there was technically any non-white supremacist Nazis. And while Black is trying to reach him in some way, shape, or form, in West Hollywood, we have OMAC going against Apollo. Now, Apollo is not even trying to fight, not even a little bit, because Apollo had come to help both her and Leah Nelson. OMAC believing that Apollo is the one that did something with her that had her disappear, but that's not the case, because we know it is Eclipso, and Apollo tells Mac, like, listen, you need to listen to me right now. I'm not here to hurt you. I am here to find Nelson, and I'm here to protect her. Because right now, Eclipso is after her. He has her, and we have to get to her before it is too late. And picking up on the horizon, this is where we see Leah and Eclipso. Eclipso doing his introduction, saying that he's kind of a bipolar individual. By day, he's a super nice academic dude named Bruce. But by nighttime, he becomes your worst nightmare. He becomes the darkness. He becomes that monster under your bed. A Jacqueline Hyde, he is Eclipso. And anytime he sees that beacon of light, he is compelled to go and try to damper it out, to try to smother out that light. And that's exactly what he wants to do with Leah. And as Eclipso is convincing her to take her gun and put it to her head, we see a blinding light come out of it, only for her to wake up in some flowers. Wake up in a beautiful green landscape. And that's because at the last minute, we saw Enchantress make her entrance. With the help of Apollo, they are going to ensure that Eclipso has no darkness to hide in. With Apollo's solar powers negating Eclipso's darkness, Superman tells Brainiac that he needs to make his next move. Now, Brainiac, he's been under the assumption, because he got the help of Ultra-Humanite to hire these individuals to help them defeat Superman's The Authority. But really, they're more of a control group to measure his abilities, measure his capabilities, and to see where he is standing. But we're seeing that this team is much more than they bargained for. With Midnighter taking down our French spy, with the rest of the Authority taking everybody else out, with Coldcast being the last individual standing. He stands there holding the brain of one of the Ultra-Humanites. This battle is won and over. Now Superman lets Ultra-Humanite and Brainiac both know that he doesn't care what they do next. With them saying that this head is about to explode because every brain is implanted with a bomb, Superman just tells them stop. Like, stop right there, because honestly, I just don't care. I don't care about your master plan. I don't care what your overall goal is. Because the truth of the matter is, unless you're going to follow me all the way around the universe, going to the worst places in the galaxy, then none of this matters. Telling them that someone else can go ruin your master plans, and maybe it's even possible that you can find a way to work together with this new generation that is coming up. And we see him teleport out of the room as it detonates. And this leaves Brainiac completely confused, not understanding this tactic, not understanding that Superman just doesn't want to play this game anymore. He took his pieces off of the board and said, I'm no longer playing this game. That it doesn't matter what you throw at Earth, we are always going to find a way to combat it, even if it's not me doing it. Now, of course, this is essentially leaving the job to Jonathan, saying that Jonathan is going to have to take over and he is going to have to defeat Brainiac on his own. Telling Lois Lane this, they both know what is going to come. Superman has to leave for Warworlds, and Jonathan has to step up as Superman to take on Brainiac, to take on all of the individuals that are going to try to take down Earth. All of the individuals that are going to try to take it over with the absence of the last Krypton. But then we pick back up at Fort Superman, with Superman and the entirety of the Authority. And he finally comes clean with the last of the plans, letting them know that that last run, that was their test run to see if they have what it takes. To see if they have what it takes to be able to take on some of the fiercest, some of the strongest individuals out in the universe. He told them that he had plans to change the world. He never specified on which world that was, saying that planet Earth, while it has tons of problems, it has plenty of heroes that are here to save it. But we can go to other worlds and make a true difference. And he tells all of them that their next step is going to be taking on some more individuals, a group to test and see if they are truly ready to go to the tyrannical world of Warworlds, to free all of the slaves. And he tells them that they are not leaving, they are not returning to Earth until every single slave has been freed. And with that, Superman and the Authority, they begin their adventures. Now, this is where we pick up a little bit later. Picking up a little bit later, we have Superman and Black having a conversation, with Manchester Black being the more or less assistant coach to the team. He explains that their primary mission is to protect Leah Nelson, aka Light Ray. That while they have ambitions to go to Warworld and save all of these people, their main priority is Light Ray, to keep her protected, to do this at all costs. And this is where Superman shows him something that he hasn't shown anybody else yet. And what we see is the final barrier. And Superman came into possession of a fragment that we know as the Wall, an artifact belonging to the new gods. And he goes on to tell him that in a time of cosmic upheaval, the so-called Unifriend, a mysterious hand of fire, is said to spell out communications directly from the source of creation. And for the last 11 days, it's been seen writing the same thing over and over and over. And what it has been spelling out is Light Ray is. And that will be the end of this series. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This has been one heck of a freaking run. Only 4 issues, but it definitely got the point across. It showed us our team. It showed us what Superman is going to be working with as he heads off to Warworld. Now, there are definitely some inconsistencies between this Action Comics and Superman Son of Kal-El. Like, these writers needed to get together and figure out the proper timeline, because Grant Morrison had made Superman much more depowered and looking much more older than in Action Comics or Superman Son of Kal-El. Not only that, but we get the idea that this is picking up sometime in the future, when the reality is this is all transpiring during current day. Seeing small moments of crossover. And so, like I said, there's definitely inconsistencies. The timeline doesn't necessarily make sense for how they're showing Superman depowering. Because the entirety of Superman in the Authority, we're seeing him have to use gadgets, to use tricks, to use people to his advantage. But when it comes to Action Comics and Superman Son of Kal-El, we're not seeing that at all. we're seeing that he can still fly, he can still throw a punch, he can still take on pretty much anything. And even up to the moment he leaves, do we see this? Now, outside of the inconsistencies, I really did enjoy this. I like the idea, it's done before. It's been done before, is Superman being depowered. But in this situation, it's a little bit different because while he is being depowered, he's also taking off. He's built up a team and he's still going to try to fight some of the greatest threats in the universe. With Jonathan now being old enough to take over the mantle, we're seeing Superman doesn't have to keep his responsibilities to one planet anymore. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Be sure to hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out, and until the next breakdown.